Well, I'm back in another vehicle, this time a 2020 Toyota RAV4. Let's take a peek at this guy. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another video review here in another vehicle. Another one from Toyota. Thankfully, I was able to snag this. First of all, I want to say if the sun kind of goes in and out and it gets kind of dark for a second, I apologize. Just not at the right angle, but then again, I have limited time with these vehicles, so I want to make sure I get some good footage for you. That said, this is a 2020 Toyota RAV4. It is the limited all-wheel drive. So this is the limited trim with all-wheel drive. It's got about everything you can probably put on it within reason. I'm sure there's a few more things you can add in here. But the nice thing about that is I got to play around with all these fancy gadgets in here for the last few days. And I've had a lot of fun doing it. So to beat around the bush, this is a small SUV, right? Now it is all-wheel drive, so that's a big bonus. Most people don't need true four-wheel drive. I think all-wheel drive, specifically modern all-wheel drive, is fantastic. Now it's not snowing anymore. We're kind of in that spring mix, and so I haven't really had any time to try out the all-wheel drive on a slippery type surface. But like most items with all-wheel drive, I think you can justify it to be better in a lot more circumstances than just front wheel or just definitely rear wheel drive. Now that said, this is the limited trim, so sticker price on this is just over 40. I think it's like 40,300 give or take on this specific unit. It's a beautiful blue color. It's really neat, kind of a two-tone premium leather interior. It's got heated seats, it's got climate control like you would think whenever you're talking about a limited series. It has a 2.5 liter four-cylinder. That's actually the first thing I really noticed. I didn't really look at the specs when I got the vehicle. I just was you know what, I'm just gonna drive it first. And then right away, as soon as I started driving it, I knew it was a four-cylinder. Four-cylinders have that specific sound and that specific feel. However, when, you know, oh, yep, it's a four-cylinder, I'm going to expect X out of it. In that specific category, I was surprised. Now, this has an 8-speed transmission, and it has more giddy-up and power than I would have anticipated from a four-cylinder. So that was a pleasant surprise that I didn't see coming, to be honest about it. And we will discuss that here shortly, where we actually will put it up to higher power or higher speed test, as well as uphill higher speed test. So that said, kind of going through the interior here, this has the whole interior package, the new and improved Entune radio on it with CarPlay. I'm not going to go into all that because I've done several videos on it, and I will put links to my other videos specifically to that radio, so take a peek at that video when you get a chance if you're interested in that. Now that says there are a couple nuances. The climate control knobs here that are kind of rubbered and have some, you know, neat, I guess, feel to them or look to them. They actually match that with the knobs that are on the radio, so that's actually a little bit different than you'll see in like the Sienna video or the Tacoma video that I've done in the past. So there are USB ports throughout the vehicle, front, middle, back, middle, and basically in this the center console here. There's a couple ports here for charging. The mirror has some really neat nuances to it, where it does have the home link for the garage door opener, but it also does have the automatic dimming and things like that, and where you can actually go into the settings for that. Pretty neat in that regard. This has their full glass roof, basically really nice, and the full sunroof capability in the front, and then open glass panel in the back. But it does have a cover that covers the entire roof when you don't want to see it or don't want to use it and want to cover, and then you have it looking like a standard roof. I like to leave it open specifically during the day, right? Especially now that we're getting into the nicer part of the year. There are a lot of safety features built into this guy as well. There's blind spot monitoring. It's brake assistance. There's automatic distance control when you're on your your cruise control. You can set all those fancy items that you would typically see in most modern Toyotas are all available on the RAV4 as well. I will show a video here in a little bit where we'll actually test out like the backup sensors, and where it'll automatically brake so you don't actually run into something. And those are a lot of safety features. All those safety features you can turn off. You don't have to have on at all times. But that said, they are very nice and very handy, and they keep you from possibly damaging your vehicle, especially in maybe a shadowy situation. But we'll get into that. We'll also show on the limited package here, we do have a 360 camera. So we can actually, there's cameras obviously at the back for the tailgate for the backup camera. There's cameras underneath the mirrors on both sides, and there's a camera out the front. Similar to the one that I've done in the Tacoma, however, not so much for off-roading. This camera is more for generalized use in like parking and assistance and making sure you're not going to hit something if you're maneuvering about something in a tight manner. So we'll show that specifically in like a parallel parking type situation. Now it doesn't parallel park itself, but I tell you what, all the features that are in this really make everything you do with it that much easier. All in all, if I was in the market for a small SUV, and I have been a fan for the RAV4 a long time. My mother, actually, when I was younger, always wanted the RAV4, actually never ended up getting one, always got something else, maybe it was a little bit less expensive or used or something like that, but always was a fan of the RAV4, and I honestly understand why. It's a very nimble, very small, nice SUV. I drove a Jeep Liberty for 6 years. This is about the same size as that internally, substantially quieter. Mine was a diesel, so it wasn't the gas engine, so mine had more power in that specific realm, but I honestly tell you, this beats it hands down in about every other thing possible. But this is a more modern vehicle than my 2006 Liberty that I had, so yeah, there's a lot of nuances to it. But for all intents and purposes, this is a very nice vehicle. Now, it is very windy out today, so we are getting a lot of wind noise, but it's not just because I'm going 60 miles an hour, it's also because it is a windy day out today. So I did want to bring that up, so kind of put in regarding I'm actually going into the wind, so it's heavier than normal. That said, we're going to head up a hill, and we're going to take a peek and see how it does on the hill. Okay, so we're going up a mile-long hill here in Dubuque. I'm going to set the cruise on, and right now I'm just going to set it to 60 miles an hour. And we're just going to let it go up the hill. This is kind of always the test to see how, if you start going up and it starts downshifting. This mile-long hill has always been the item that my dad used to test vehicles on to see if it needs to downshift to go up. Now this has an 8-speed, so it has a few more speeds in there to choose from, and it seems to be doing just fine. So, but that said, I'm going up a hill, so I'm gonna now try the acceleration on the hill. Now I'm in eco mode. I'm gonna take it out of eco mode, just put it in normal mode. So let's say you're going up a hill and you want to actually pass a vehicle. Let's see what kind of power it's got. Yeah, way more than enough. Way more than enough. So even if you were going, down the interstate at 80 miles an hour in Nebraska or something, or in South Dakota, you got plenty of power on this guy. The transmission and engine combination worked great. One other item I wanted to try out was the going into sport mode and seeing how the acceleration works here on the highway. I'm just going to pull out here, and we're going to give her some gas and to get back up to speed, go in the other direction, and we'll see how she does. Well, I am more impressed than I thought I was going to be, and I apologize again for the darkness of that video there for a second. But that had more power than I thought it was going to have, to be honest. And the shifting was very smooth and very precise. Very good job, Toyota. Very good job. I like that. That was great. There's a lot to like about this car. So for convenience features, other than the climate controls and the seat heaters here, which obviously right now I have all the seat heaters on, which I don't necessarily need because it's not too cold out anymore. We also have a 12-volt plug down here, as well as a USB port. This is going to be also for your Apple CarPlay support and things like that to get depth of the radio. It does have Qi charging. There's a power button right here that tells you, indicates whether it's on or off, and that's how you turn it on and off. We have, like I said, our controls here for our sport modes, our parking brake, and then of course our shift control knob. We do have a couple of cup holders here. This is one thing that I really wish they need to change. If you're familiar with the Sienna, at least, down here on the bottom of the parking of the cup holder, there are some lights, just kind of illuminates from the bottom so you can easily find the drink holders. These, and I'm not used to obviously being this close to my armrest, but they need some illumination down here. So at night, when it's really dark out, it's hard to really see this down here. And so having some light, like maybe some small blue lights or something down there, I think that would help tremendously. Then we have our storage in here, which has 2 more USB charging ports inside here. This is something that they should bring with every single Toyota vehicle. I'm amazed that this is the only one that I've seen that has it. But at least a little tray that gives you something else for quick access, and then the tub. We do have a shelf here. I don't know if I really particularly like the shelf idea. That's something that I don't see as big of a need for. I'd rather have maybe a small container that keeps stuff from rattling around, but it's not hard plastic. It's kind of a rubberized plastic. And then we have our actual glove box. So that is something to say, at least. I don't know if I like this. It looks nice, I will say that. It looks from afar, it looks really good. But if you start cluttering up with stuff, it's just stuff that's out in the open that you'll see at all times. So something that I probably would change. The controls for the seats here on the door. And then we have our obviously the windows and the mirror controls, and then our lockout. So yeah, pretty simple, pretty easy. The vents are easy to adjust. JBL speakers on the limited model, so yeah, it looks good. On the left-hand side, to the left of the steering column, we do have some other options down here as well. So we have our instrument cluster, the brightness of the instrument cluster, and the lights for that. We have our automatic high beam on or off, which I did also talk about in the Tacoma and the Sienna video that I've done. But basically it allows you, so when you're driving down the highway at night, you can leave the high beams on. It'll automatically turn them off when there's a vehicle, when you're approaching a vehicle and there's a vehicle coming towards you that's getting close enough where it'll automatically kill it off. It's about automatically allowing you to keep the headlights as bright as you can possibly have them without worrying about adjusting them manually. There's also an automatic windshield wiper button. I can't really demo that right now. However, I have used it already because it did rain a little bit the first day or so I had it. So I did get to play with that, and that was neat. I've never actually had automatic windshield wipers before. So then we have the view button, which this, like I said, this has the 360 camera view. You have to be going, I think, less than 5 miles an hour for you to pull it up. Anytime over that, you can't use it. So, but it brings up all the cameras, and it's a really neat little video here. I'll show you here shortly. And then we have our heated steering wheel. So this is a leather-wrapped heated steering wheel. That's on or off down here. And then the button that actually opens and closes the rear hatch, power rear hatch. So that's down to the left, which is a little bit different. Layout, I guess I'm kind of used to being up here, but up here we just have light controls for the dome lights in the vehicle, whether it's on or off with the door or not, or just on, and as well as the control of the sunroof overhead, as well as the I guess panic button, or the SOS button they call it. And then on the mirror we have our HomeLink controls, as well as we have our automatic dim feature on or off. That's all with buttons right here, and I'll show you that. But that said, let's find a place that we can pull off and I can show you the 360 camera, specifically when it pertains to backing up and parking. So here I am in the back seat real quick, and you can see my GoPro mount there, but I wanted to at least give you an idea of what it looks like from the rear seat point of view. And right now you can see we have the nice sky view from the top glass for the dual sunroof there. And there are a few things of note here. So there are 2 USB ports down below for the rear seat passengers. They do get their own vents back here, which is a big plus. Now, the vents there are going to be controlled from the front, and they are going to be controlled by climate of the front. However, it is nice to see that they actually do get their own, I guess, ventage, so they get to heat up and cool down as fast. The handles up top are standard. Hooks back here are standard. And of course, the premium leather in this edition is very, very stunning. And I gotta tell you, it's very comfortable. I mean, I'm 5'11", and I got plenty of leg room yet, and I'm stretched out, and I feel very, very comfortable. So I gotta give them kudos for that. Secondly, the cargo bin has this cover, and we're gonna actually go from the back to show you the actual cargo space. But for a smaller SUV like this, gives you plenty of cargo room. So in the back here has the power latch, which I just pushed the button to open up. You can see the camera there actually as well. And right now, well, it looks like we have a ice scraper back here yet. We have the subwoofer back here. So if you have the optional with the JBL, you'll see the JBL package. We have a storage bin over here. And then we have this retractable cargo, I don't know what you would call it, thing that just can be easily stowed. Looks like this actually has the netting option as well, so you can pull that netting out and use it for cargo, for basically keeping things from moving around, rattling around. But there's a lot of cargo space here. There really is, lots of it. So even though it's a small SUV, it's got a lot of space. And underneath we have our spare with the jack already put into it, so keeps it out from underneath the seats and stuff, which is a nice little option. And that's always a handy item. And then if you want to, when you're done, this just kind of slips into place. There we go with it. And then we can push the button here, and she'll close the tailgate for you. And of course, if you don't want to use that power tailgate, that's what the button on the left side of the driver column is for. So I wanted to check real quick to show you what it looks like with the 360. Now I can click the 360 view camera and it'll pop on at any time. But at the same time, if I have it set, and I can actually go through the different settings, but if I click it in reverse, it'll automatically go over to the rear view camera and then the 360 view camera. And this is kind of one of those instances where it actually works really, really good. As I turn the view, I can also see where my back end's going to go. And so there's no vehicle I'm going to run into in the back, but at the same time, I'm also using this to get the best possible spot, right? And so you can see here over here, I can actually then start adjusting my turn radius accordingly, right? And it takes a little bit getting used to, but the nice thing about this is it allows you to hug the curb way better than what the guy in front of me is. And then at the same time, I can also look at the view here. It'll show me where my front bumper is roughly, and it'll start alarming me when something's going on, when I'm getting close to something. There's a vehicle in front of me, and there's also a hitch. So there's a lot of really cool features with this. I'm going to back up a little bit and get further away. And there we're away. So a lot of capability, a lot of protection pieces that are actually built into this. I can also change the view down here. Well, like I said, when I'm not in rear, I can change that view where I can just look on this is underneath the mirrors, and then I can also see how close I am to the curb, how close I am to anything that's to the side. So it's pretty awesome. They did a really good job with this. You can have it set to auto, on or off, depending, and that's going to be dependent on what you're doing and how fast you're going, things like that. But no, this is a very, very similar system that they have in the Tacoma. Obviously more for urban use than trail use. One key feature I did want to point out real quick is it does tell you which of the children in the back seat are actually buckled. And I did have my daughter on one of the leftmost seats, but on that seat, if you look back here, it has the buckle for the center seat too. Well, she buckled her belt into the center one, and it started beeping at me like crazy to say, hey, one of the kids in the back seat is not buckled, and obviously the one that should be buckled is kind of weird. It was beeping like crazy. We couldn't figure it out. It finally stopped beeping after a few minutes while I was driving, and then we realized she was buckled, but she was buckled into the wrong buckle. So just to let you know, so if you start going away and it starts going crazy, it is a very smart vehicle, so it does give you at least that heads up. So all in all, I'm very pleasantly surprised by this little vehicle. This, if I was looking at any of the other small type SUVs out there, boy, this would be one of those that I would definitely look at. Now, I'm really enjoying Tacoma in this sense. Before I started doing these videos, I had never owned a Tacoma myself. My parents had. I bought a Tacoma last summer and love it. And I did my 2020 Tacoma review to show the difference between the two. Then I did a Sienna video in December, and now 2 weeks ago we bought a Sienna. That's how much we enjoyed the last vehicle that I reviewed. So I'm getting scared. Every time I review a new vehicle, my wife seems to really like them too. So I don't see this coming into my future because we do like the size of the van, extra cargo space, and we just bought it, of course. But if I was in the market for a smaller SUV, if I was looking at a Jeep like a Patriot size or any of those smaller type SUVs, not the large 3 rows or anything like that, the RAV4 is very nimble, to be honest, very efficient for what it is, especially with the all-wheel drive package in this regard. Has a lot of get up and go, nice, quiet, and comfortable. And that's really what you're looking for. Now, this has the JBL audio package, which I really can't demo for you very well, so I'm not going to try. But it does have the advanced premium audio. I'm not going to tell you that, oh man, this audio is well worth $1,000 extra. It's not. But if it was a couple $100, I probably would spend it. But it's just going to come with the premium interior package, is what it's going to do. It is nice. I will give it that. I don't have another RAV4 to compare the non-JBL package, but I don't have the JBL package in either of my other 2 vehicles, and I'm very, very happy with my audio system that is integrated into those. So, with that said, some of these features I can't say are worth the cost to upgrade into. The safety features from the rear sensors, the automatic assist braking, the adaptive cruise control, the lane detection, all those are I really would want that. If I was buying another vehicle, those are the things I would definitely key in on. The 360 camera package is a premium that is not a necessity. It is neat. And if you're not very good at trying to figure out, park properly, and you're always kind of having to jump out and then jump back in, that might be something to look at, because it is neat and it works really well. However, the cost for what you're getting out of it is a premium. Now, the rear backup camera is pretty much going to be standard anymore, but those side and front cameras are not. And I think give it 5-10 more years and we'll have even more cameras anyway. So with that said, I do like this vehicle. There are a few things that I would change. I would definitely add some lighting to the cup holders. Like in my Sienna, they actually have some lights right at the bottom of the cup holder, and they illuminate while at night, so you can see the cup holders very easily. That was one of the day one when I was in here when it was nighttime. I had a hard time finding my garage door opener that I threw in the cup holder because it was really dark down here. So I kind of had to kick the light on. But there's small things. Nothing stands out as a big item that I don't like this. I'm not a huge sunroof guy, never have been. My wife is the same way. So this whole roof package is neat, but I probably wouldn't pay for it unless it came in a package that had something that I really wanted, and it is what it is. But it's not something that I would specifically look for unless you really want to open it up and you really want that like moon type view. So it is a fantastic small SUV. That's, I guess, the best way forward. I keep I think my videos just keep getting longer and longer because I like talking about this stuff, and this vehicle is second. I mean, it is very comfortable. I gotta give the seats credit. They are very comfortable, and they kind of wrap into you. So the back kind of holds on to you. It just kind of keeps you in place. I could see myself doing a very long journey in this vehicle and being very pleasantly surprised at the end of it and very happy. I think no matter what you do, you're always going to have those need to take breaks. But it is what it is. I do like this. I do like the RAV4. So 2 thumbs up, Toyota. You guys are hitting home runs so far. Every time I try one of your vehicles, I'm very, very happy with it. The screen sticking out at first, I was kind of like, I don't know if I like that. I kind of like it. I like the larger displays. If nothing else, it gives them options to bring in even a larger display into this. This has the Entune radio with the buttons. I could see them putting a full touch panel in there in, whatever, 4 more years. So it just kind of sets the stage for it. And yeah, very nice interior, very nice vehicle. So if you're interested in anything that I have said in this video, absolutely by all means, head over to your local Toyota dealership, take a peek at this, take a ride in it. And if you're in the market for a small SUV and you're looking at upgrading or you're looking at changing out, yeah, the 2020 RAV4 pretty solid. I can only imagine what the 2021 is going to bring. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for sticking with me, and nice little drive that we took together. And I apologize if this video kind of rambled on. So you guys have a good one. We'll see you on the next video.